warmly welcome you to our second episode of Finding Beauty in Your Scars under Unspoken Truth family. Remember, this is a safe place where we'll be sharing about our past, our pains, our frustration, our anger, our future, and our present, without being judged by anyone else. This is your beautiful host, Helen Zanele Chico. On our previous episode of Finding Beauty in Your Scars, episode 1, I shared about my journey of life. I shared about how it was so difficult for me and so frustrating to finally embrace my pains and my scars. I shared how I even wanted to commit suicide 3 times. I even shared how it was so difficult for me to forgive that person who hurt me, to also forgive myself. I shared my journey not knowingly that it will touch many of you. And some of you even shared your pains with me. You even shared your frustrations with me. You even went deep. You shared how it also broke you and how it has destroyed you mentally, emotionally, and physically. Most of your pains that you shared with me, you shared about your past relationships, your childhood traumas, and etc. And for that, thank you so much for sharing all your pains with me. As I've said it before, this is a safe place where we'll be sharing our pains without being judged by anyone, where we'll be helping each other through the journey of healing and hold each other's hands to beat this thing of saying, I don't deserve healing. I don't deserve to be loved again. On our second episode, we'll be talking about the importance of healing, the importance of moving on from what hurt you. But first, we'll be discussing about how childhood traumas has ruined some of us, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, even financially. The reason why I chose this topic is because I've gotten a lot of feedbacks from people who have been hurt by childhood traumas, who are struggling to move on from their past, especially their past when it comes to childhood. Some of their childhood have destroyed them mentally. Some of them, they're even failing to get into serious relationships of what happened in the past. While we'll be discussing this topic, we'll be breaking it down and discussing the healing parts of childhood, how to move on from your past, and how to embrace healing again. As this is a segment of finding beauty in your scars. You can find beauty in your scars in everything that you went through. Let us discuss or break it down. What is a childhood trauma? And how does a childhood trauma destroy one or affect one? And how to move on from it? And how to embrace healing from it again? Childhood trauma is the experience of an event by a child that is emotionally painful or stressful, which often results in lasting mental and physical effects. I did say before that some of our childhood traumas have destroyed us mentally. They even destroyed us not to fall in love because of what happened in the past. Childhood trauma will make you feel guilty for something you did not have a control over. Remember when you are a baby, there's certain things that you do not knowing that they are right or wrong. But when you grow up, when you start seeing life different, you remember that you did something while you were young, or something happened to you while you were young, and you thought it was right, only to find out that it wasn't right. And you start blaming yourself for what happened to you, or start feeling guilty of what took place, only to find out that it's not your fault. And the combination of traumas effects on the different areas of the brain associated with memory accounts for why survivors of trauma often have difficulty remembering specific details of a trauma. You sometimes forget of what happened in the past. And sometimes when you remember about it, you start experiencing anxiety. You start experiencing panic attacks. You experience all that if you didn't go for counseling. That is why That is why it's good for you to start attending counseling if you feel like certain situations that took place in the past are overwhelming for you. There's this say that says, hurt people, hurt people. We are trying to avoid that statement that says hurt people, hurt people. By avoiding it, you should go for counseling to heal from what hurt you, or talk about it in order for you to find healing and to find closure. How does a childhood trauma affect you? I picked up that in some of my counseling sessions, a lot of people, their childhood traumas, they have affected their mental state. Their relationships, emotions, attachments, or whatsoever. Childhood trauma affects one so badly. It affects your well-being, your mental state. It also has an impact when it comes to relationships. How does it has impact when it comes to relationships? Attachments, problems, disorders, problems in romantic relationships, intergenerational cycles of abuse and neglect. Those are some of the things that I've picked up when I'm doing my counseling sessions. Mental health. How does it affect your mental health? Depression, you start having depression, you started having anxiety, you're starting to have low self-esteem, negative self-image, and you start having suicidal thoughts because it has affected you mentally. Behavior. How does it affect your behavior? Social withdrawal. If you used to like to be around people, you're now no longer enjoying to be around people because it has affected you so badly that you end up having social withdrawal. You end up committing yourself into drugs and alcohol misuse. Emotions. How does it affect your emotions? How does it destroy your emotions? Difficulty controlling your emotions. It's either you become extremely happy or you just become extremely sad, but you just cannot control your emotions because it's affecting your emotions. You feel guilty of what happened. You have an excessive worry over something that you cannot control or something that you cannot change. You feel hopeless, as if you don't have control over what is happening around you or of what happened around you. Physical health. How does it affect your physical body, your outside body? You're having a problem of sleeping disorders. It's either you sleep early or you don't sleep at all. It's either you eat too much, eating disorders, or you don't eat at all. It's either you get too much happy or you get too much sad. That's how childhood traumas, they affect one to the point that they don't have control of their feelings and emotions. Remember, dealing or healing from a childhood trauma or any other trauma, it comes with a lot of energy, strength, and it will take a lot of power to come out from it. It also comes with a lot of triggers, especially when you tell yourself that you are finally healing and you're getting better. Sometimes you will wish to just give up because it gets too much for you to handle and to even deal with the pain or to even face the pain. You may also feel like you are not good enough, especially when you get into a romantic relationship. When someone tells you that she or he loves you, you feel like you don't deserve their love because you feel as if you are never good enough for their love or you are never good enough to be in a relationship. There's no space for your feelings. Like no one cares about how you are feeling. You sometimes feel as if when you are going to talk about your feelings, no one will take notice of that. And no one will believe you. It's like the world, it has closed its space for you to express your feelings. You want people to love you in order to love yourself. In order for you to love yourself, you'll want the validation from people. You'll want to see your love through other people. You are not deserving of good things. You need to be perfect. Sometimes when good things come your way, you feel as if you don't deserve those things. You feel as if you are never perfect, and you'll try everything to please people. You'll try to do everything to make yourself feel perfect. And another thing, avoiding your triggers isn't healing. Healing happens when you are triggered and you are able to move through the pain, the pattern, and the story and work your way to your different ending. You avoiding your triggers and what hurt you, it will never make you to feel better. Instead, you will continue moving into cycles of what hurt you. You will continue moving into cycles of what broke you. You will never find healing. To show that you are healing, there are signs that shows you are healing. You don't feel ashamed of your trauma. You embrace it and you learn from it. You can set, enforce, communicate your boundaries. You, by setting your boundaries, you are allowing certain things to happen to you at a given time that it's best for you. You feel more in control of yourself. You're no longer allowing people to control you. You're no longer allowing the pain to control you. You're no longer allowing your frustrations to control you. Remember, we mentioned before that childhood trauma, it deals with your mental state. It deals with your relationships. When you are finally embracing healing, you will now have control of what has hurt you. You will now have control of your emotions and your mental state. You welcome support. You welcome people to come and help you when it comes to the journey of healing. You allow people to hold your hand when it comes to the journey of healing. Reminders for healing. Things that you should remember when you're going through the journey of healing. Freedom and redemption is possible. Healing doesn't happen overnight. Don't be hard on yourself. Doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen over seconds or minutes, but you just have to be patient with yourself. It's not easy, but working towards healing is an investment in your future. It's okay to take your time and go at your own pace. Don't rush yourself. Take time to heal from what hurt you. Even on your worst day, you still have lots to be proud of. Always embrace good things that are happening in your life. Don't focus on what is hurting you a lot and forgetting on what's good things that are happening in your life. And at times, if you're feeling overwhelmed or frustrated of what is happening to you, do that. Always create a safe place for you to run to when you are feeling overwhelmed and when you feel as if things are getting too much for you. I mentioned before that healing comes with a lot of triggers. All you have to do is to remain calm and give yourself time to embrace your journey of healing. Stop hurting yourself by expecting people who can't show up for themselves to show up for you. Always leave a room for disappointments. Seeking closure from people who ghosted you or who won't respond. Blaming yourself for things you have no control over. Seeking connections with people who are not the best for you. In order to embrace the journey of healing, always put yourself first. And always remember that your pain is valid. And always remember that you are still work in process. You mustn't rush your healing. You mustn't rush yourself to embrace the journey of healing. Give yourself time. Surround yourself with positivity. Surround yourself with people who are bringing out the best in you. Always choose your happiness. Always choose your peace. And remember, your state of mind comes first. You cannot work from the empty cup. You cannot always be an empty cup that wants to pour to people. And always pour to people who acknowledge your presence and who love you. You can still find beauty in your scars from your past relationships. There's certain things that we are learning from our past relationships. There's certain things that we are learning from our childhood traumas. All we just have to do is to embrace the pain, to welcome healing, and to welcome happiness again. I hope you will learn from what I've just said when it comes to childhood traumas, how to embrace healing. With that being said, thank you for listening. Thank you for always subscribing. May the good Lord keep you. May He overwhelm you with His love and with His peace. Sending positive energies your way, love, happiness, and joy. Always choose yourself, and always remember that your pain is valid. Don't stop from claiming your healing again. I've said it before, this is your host, your bubbly girl, Helen Zanele Chico. Thank you so much.
The Unspoken Truth is the catalyst for important and thought-provoking conversations that need to be had. The network tackles social ills, spiritual healing, soul-searching, and mental health awareness. To subscribe, click on the show link to follow our podcast and be part of the Unspoken Truth family. Find us on all social media platforms.